All right, ladies and gentlemen, 7:05 meeting called to order. So, on the agenda tonight, first thing we're going to discuss is the Scituate Fire Department fiscal 2018 capital project. Chief Murphy presenting.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, let's start at the top of the list here. You are, first thing, renovate Station Number 4, Phase 1.
Yes, basically, Station 4 in Hummerock, the bay is too small to fit a newer apparatus. So what we do is first 5 years, an engine's at Station 1, second 5 years at Station 3, third 5 years at Station 4, and then the last 10 years, it's a Priority 1 and a Priority 2 backup. So the one at Station 3 now to go to Hummerock will not fit. Right now, there's about 2.5 inches of clearance on the current engine, and the other ones have a rise, so it won't fit. The building's been, it's an older building, so it's time. So on the south end of the building, we plan on putting a new bay attached to the other side of the kitchen, so it should be a pretty easy transition. There's enough room down there space-wise for on the property. I'm working with Kevin Kelly on facilities on this, so we did put some money away in FY15, $75,000, so we feel that $250,000 will be ample to get this bay done.
Have you got bids already?
We haven't got bids already. We got some ideas, talking to some contractors and stuff like that, getting ballpark figures, but once we get this, we'll move forward with some engineering and design, and hopefully in the fall we can move forward. A lot of these buildings are not, we're thinking probably a steel building, almost like the Scituate Boat Works building that you can attach to the current building.
Similar to what Marshfield did up in Brant Rock?
Yeah, they have a similar building like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So a steel building, shingle on the outside, make it look, fit right in with everything down there. But a steel building with insulation, so they're a lot cheaper to build too. Most of them come in kits.
Yeah. Nice. I'll attest to it. That place is tiny. I know.
Yeah, it's time. Just getting in and out of that, even on the sides, it's pretty tight. The bay on that right now is 11 feet high. The standard right now is 14 feet for an apparatus bay.
You'll maintain the existing bay?
We'll probably transition that bay and utilize that space. Right now, we have, there's a couple of beds down there sort of tucked in. There's one sort of a weight room, fitness room that's tucked back there, so we could use a little bit of space down there. It's pretty tight, so we can utilize that space. We may be able to put nothing really big in there, though, you know what I mean? If we, maybe if we had a storm, maybe a Humvee or something like that can fit in the back bay or something like that.
Right.
But we have, there's not even a lot, like right now, we have some lockers at Station 3, they're in good shape. We can't even fit them down there right now. So we want to hold on to them, so when we do this renovation, we can move some stuff out of that bay and give these guys a little bit more space down there.
Very good. Any other questions?
How many people do you have there?
Two 24/7, there's always 2 firefighters there. Yes.
And one engine, is that?
One engine. Yeah.
Okay.
So, it obviously takes us about 12, 13 minutes to get down there on a good day. So to have the engine there, there's always an EMT and a lot of time paramedics now. We'll try to rotate our paramedics down there. We did classify our engine 4 as a Class 5 ambulance, so we can go basically to intermediate levels. We can start IVs, we can do a lot more care. So with the paramedics down there, we have 31 now, so we just hired 2 more. So the paramedics often rotate down there. To have a paramedic down there early on, because no matter where you're coming from, the ambulance is going to take 10 to 15 minutes.
Do we have a cooperative arrangement down there with Marshfield? Do we help Marshfield, and do they help us?
Yes, we work very well with Marshfield for mutual aid. Anytime we get a fire alarm down there, they send their ladder truck with 4 personnel. It's worked out. Actually, usually they beat us there. They're about 7-8 minutes off from their station up by on Ferry Street. So we have a good mutual aid compact with them.
That sounds good.
Yeah, yeah, we worked well. Because the other thing is down the Bridgeway and that whole area on Ferry Street down there. Like I said, that's 7 to 8 minutes away. We're 2 to 3 minutes on the other side of the bridge. We cooperate also, so it works out well for both.
Any other questions?
No.
Then I guess we can move right along. Next item on your agenda, replacing the Zoll monitor.
Yeah.
What is a Zoll monitor?
So the Zoll monitor is what the cardiac monitors that the paramedics use. So if somebody has to have an EKG, just like they would in the hospital room, a 12 lead, they can put this on there. It's freestanding anybody with chest pain, even a lot of other events that we just want to get a picture of what's happening inside them, especially in their heart. So it's also going to give you blood pressure. The new Zoll models just have more toys on them, more standards. We can wirelessly, an EKG, send a wireless EKG to the emergency room, so they know exactly what they're getting there when they come in. If it's something serious, they can prepare what's happening coming in the door, and it's a better preparation.
Maybe we have just the one on the, just the one.
No,
on
we
the
have 5
So
right
one
now.
on
So
each.
the old one's been around. They've been around 15 years.
Yeah.
So they still zap, but they don't do all the extra stuff that right now the standards are. So when we get a new one, replace it. So I'm hoping about every 3 years we can do this, because it's the technology is changing so fast, and also a lot of times the hospital requires the new technology. So and again, we've delegated 2 years ago, actually, 2015. Engine 3 and Engine 4 is Class 5 ambulances, so now they have to have these the monitors on them. And again, if our ambulances are out of town, we call them mutual aid ambulance. No matter what engine gets there, we have the capability to give them ALS care right away.
And this is just for one?
Yes.
Yes. They're expensive. But it's anything in medicine's expensive.
A little more than
So
just an
both.
AED. Yep.
No,
What do you have there now?
I'm sorry.
What do you have there now? You have a...
They have
We have
Zolls.
these, yes, just the new ones. So the oldest one that's probably 15 years old
You wanna
will get
upgrade.
traded in or whatever, so we get the technology going down the line. So the number 1 ambulance at Station 1, that'll have the newest Zoll monitor on it, just like the engines. The other one gets bumped to Station 3, and so on, and they get bumped down to the engines.
Any other questions? Very good. Moving on to, is that it for you? No. $100,000 to replace a rescue pumper.
Yeah, we have
I
a,
want to see the $100,000 rescue.
It's towards, it's about $500,000 for a new pumper, so this is the first money towards it. We hope to get the balance in the fall. We have 5 engines, 2 backups, and we use quite a bit, especially during the storms and larger events. And actually, our number 5 pumper, backup pumper, engine 5, just the pump just went on it. So it's an 87, it's an old truck, but it's $28,000 to fix the pump. We just don't feel it's the value. The truck's not worth $28,000, so we'll just use it as a backup piece without knowing its capabilities for the next year. And hopefully in about a year from this spring, we can upgrade this pumper. And we try to rotate them on every 5 years. Again, first 5 at Station 1, second 5 Station 3, fifth year is at Station 4, and we have 10 years in backup. They're recommended about 20 years. We end up getting about 25 out of them.
87, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that the last of the mechanical trucks over there?
Yeah, all the stuff now, the technology out there with the computers, sometimes you almost wish you had all the old mechanical ones, because you can adjust them the way you need it. Sometimes you
Well, I
don't
was
have a
gonna-
choice.
Part of the argument of holding on to that one and what, old engine 2, was that we could use them down on the water without having to worry about the electronics.
So both the electronics, we don't worry about, taking a new engine that's worth $500,000 and putting it down during a storm and getting trapped, because it's happened close. I was in a truck when we get out of there, but it's hairy, so we have that plan. We have that plan in place. Anytime we get a storm, engine 5 goes to the waterfront.
But now that we're going to replace it, what are we left with?
So engine 2, the next one down.
Is engine 2 still
Engine
around?
2 is the oldest one now, so that'll be the new water truck going forward. And the other engine, the rest of it works, so if we have to use it for wires down, stuff like that, we'll still utilize it. I'm not gonna get rid of it yet until we get the new engine.
Right.
How much will the new engine cost?
They're about $500,000, between $450, $475, and we have to equip it, so the engine that's on there now, the equipment's 25 years old too.
Yeah.
Aside from the SCBA's, which we got a grant for last year, they get upgraded, but the equipment themselves, the hand tools and all that, a lot of times the jaws of life, the stuff is old. So we typically, we get a new engine, we outfit it with new equipment, it just lasts the life of that engine for the most part.
Would it make any sense to speed this up, put some additional money and get the new pumper sooner?
Well, unless you want to put $500,000 on now, but I think the plan is to split this between now and the fall town meeting.
Oh, I see, so you'll
So the
appropriate.
fall town
We'll
meeting.
the rest of the fall, and we'll be
Yeah,
ready
so
to buy.
if we get ready in the fall, I can have this by next May. I think we're in good shape,
About a year from this May.
I've actually talked to other towns, and if we get a storm, we need a backup engine, I've talked to other towns to help us out if we need to, so we'll maybe short if we get a storm.
Any other questions?
I'm good.
Is that all? I believe that's all you have.
That's all I had, correct.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Have a good night, Chief. Next up is the school department.
School department. Where is
I
it?
have more paper for you. I know you don't need it, but you have more paper than any committee, I think.
Typical
that is.
teacher, they just throw paper.
This is just an updated 5-year facility plan.
Oh, same thing you gave us last year?
We had it last year, but just so you have, we have more stuff in it.
Good.
I know you don't need more, but,
It's in color this year.
yeah, I gave you the color version.
So we can read it upside down.
Got new coffee machines. We did, and we saved money on them too, which is,
Is that your capital plan?
it wasn't in the
Wait a
capital, we
second.
leased them, we lease, you know, it's one of the things that we lease, you know. It's, you know, we do a couple of interesting things with leases, both buses, you know, we lease all of our buses, which are in our operating budget, which we've been able to take off of capital, which is helpful.
Are they all leased now?
They're all leased, yeah, we spend about $162,000 a year on leased buses, but they're 3-year leases, we have beautiful, you know, beautiful new buses, and don't have to spend a lot on maintenance, so it's really been, it's actually very financially advantageous, and it's efficient too, so. We own 2. We still own 2. They still were own the 2. best of the We ones we, kept the best. yeah, they're kind of spares for us right now.
All right, so I'm just going to start at the top of this list that I have here. So unless, did you want to
Now,
go
you go,
through
now,
something?
that's just for you, in
All
case
right.
you wanted to look at pictures.
Okay. So the Jenkins School Swing Set, tell us what's
Right.
going on there.
So the swing set was not ADA accessible. It was on the lower field. It had to be moved. It's been moved up to the upper field. We're in the process of doing that. So it's upper playground where it can be accessible. But we still have a little bit more work to do on that to complete that project. So probably shouldn't have been put down there in the first place, but it'll be where it belongs.
Where's it moving to?
It's moving up to the upper playground, you know, by the basketball courts.
Oh, okay.
So we had to cut an area out of there and put it. in the upper
So
playground.
it's on the vinyl
It's
outside.
more, yeah, it's definitely more accessible. Closer to the fence. It's actually in a better place for supervision too, to be honest with you.
And the right around the corner, I've never been there.
I was gonna say, you live right on the corner from there.
Away, put one in the middle, yeah, a couple of years back. Yeah. Yeah. Changed all the fencing around
And
it.
that is 30,000.
We couldn't get all the money
Yeah,
that we
the
wanted,
parents did it.
and a lot of the savings that we, or reductions.
So is that just to move it, or is that a new one?
Not to, a lot of work in the lower field. Bigger, better, and
So
that
the,
was a bit more reduction.
So this is one we kind of have to do.
so the 30,000 is getting us the rubber surface underneath, or the
Yeah, it's the
move
surface, so
and-
basically
Okay. Okay.
the final piece of it is the fall zone surface that we have to
Okay.
put underneath there,
Alright.
yeah. So that kids don't get hurt. If it was up to me, I'd take every monkey bar out of the schools too, but I
Grew up on monkey bars.
wouldn't be very popular.
We all did.
If I did that, but,
And we're still here.
We survived.
right, a few broken
With
bones.
minor
but-
twitches. All right, so any other questions on the Jenkins Swing Set project? Moving on, the next thing on my list is the removal of Hatherley and Cushing module.
Yeah, so the modulars have outlived their lifespan. And we're at the point now where we're beginning to have to put money into saving what are temporary structures. Hatherley roof, for example, we had a pretty significant leak there. But we've been every year having to spend money on those modulars. And then, obviously, as you know, sixth grade is moving out, so the need for those modulars now is no longer
We don't need them.
needed. The actual cost of them, I mean, the modular's not worth anything to anybody. They're really junk at this point. Somebody's just going to junk them, but this is really the cost of removal and then repair, because we got to repair what's been done underneath there. We got to have to probably do some repaving, maybe some new exterior doors. So it's going to be, the money is going to be spent on repairing after we remove. So the removal is probably the lower part of the cost here. Repairing is the bigger part of the cost, what remains.
How many are there?
There are 3 total. We have, at Cushing School, they have 1 in the front and a double classroom in the back. And at Hatherley, they have 1 in the back, which is 2 classrooms.
So they were bought in 2000, 2001.
Right.
45 grand each.
Right. You have gotten
Bigger
your
are they?
you have gotten your money's worth.
How large
out
are
of
they?
those.
The 2 classrooms worth. We had, actually, the guy that installed them came and take a look at them again.
I think he was kind of surprised it was still there.
He was surprised it was still there. Yeah. So, I don't, they're long, maybe 72
Okay,
by 24, maybe.
Nice garage in your
guess they
house,
couldn't
right?
repurpose them, right?
Well, I mean, they do have, you can put tires on and take them out, but our fear is that they'd fall apart, and so we're probably going to just have to dismantle them right on site.
Right.
Okay.
They're built for New England. They were built in, up in New Hampshire. They've got the R factor that's right for this area. We wouldn't be able to sell them down in Florida because, but they're energy hogs. They get their own units. They're air conditioned,
Yep.
which is good, but they're energy hogs. We spend a lot of money and energy just on those 3.
Any other questions on the modulars?
No.
All right.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
I'm curious.
Sorry,
go ahead.
With removing them, are you doing redistricting to accommodate the population swing?
Not yet. So what we're doing is, we have an elementary educational model subcommittee that's beginning to meet to kind of look at the future model that we want to do. So for next year, we will not do any redistricting. Although we'll have a lot of empty classroom space at Jenkins. So Jenkins could accommodate more students. But I think we have to determine what model we're going to use. And, one of the challenges is the neighborhood model, which has served Scituate well for a number of years, is going to be increasingly more challenging to maintain. So that's part of the goal of this committee, is to make a recommendation to the school committee before the end of the year, and then start planning for the following year as to what we're going to do. Okay?
Thank you. That's that one. Ceiling tile replacement at the Hatherley in Cushing.
Right, so, yep,
Hold on a second.
go ahead.
I want to come back to that.
Yep.
It's a lot of
Because that
ceiling
ties
tiles.
into your ceiling thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to tie all that together. School technology.
So school technology, in 2012, you made a major infrastructure investment in technology for the schools. Since that time, we've been appropriating through the capital fund about $150 at first. Now we're down to $100,000, basically to keep up with educational technology. As you all know, technology is not something that's going to last you 10 to 15 years. Most of it is something that's got to be replaced. So we have a good replacement plan in place that we're able to rotate technology in basically a 5 to 7 year span by keeping money coming in. We have moved Scituate from a technology poor district to a technology rich district. We have a lot of Chromebooks in the hands of students now, and so there's no shortage of that, and this $100,000 allows us to keep pace with the changes in technology.
So this gets us more Chromebooks.
Yep. That's what a lot of what the Chromebook is a cost-efficient laptop, is basically what it is. Instead of spending $1,000 for a laptop, we're spending $200 for a Chromebook. But it can do almost everything that a laptop can do, almost.
What grade levels are we getting?
We use it all the way from kindergarten on up.
Everybody uses it.
Everybody uses them, yeah.
I have to say, I'm really impressed with what I see my granddaughter and
Yeah.
friends doing, and some of my older friends' kids doing.
Yeah,
Schools
yeah.
are great.
Yeah, they've been using a lot of technology, yeah.
We don't use the carts anymore as much as we used to.
Oh, you don't?
And we still use them in the elementaries.
Yeah, in the
The carts are in the
elementaries,
elementaries,
but
yeah.
This is, we just bought those, that's
We
right.
have
No, they're in the
tubs.
elementary.
No, We use them still in the elementary, but we have tubs now.
Middle and high school, we have tubs.
Little tubs.
Oh,
Storage
That was
tubs.
last year.
Oh, yes.
And then plug the tubs, plug in or
Yeah, yeah.
whatever.
Yes.
6 or 7 of them, so.
6 fit in a tub, and then, you know, you can move them around, so if you need 12, you can easily unlock them, move them, and they're pretty
You bring your own
easily.
device, and then we augment.
Right. But our goal had always been, at the elementary level, to have one Chromebook cart per grade at each elementary school, and we're almost there. So we've really made a lot of progress, and this will probably get us close to that goal, this next purchase.
Very good. Any other questions?
Sorry, do you know how many this will address for you?
This will probably purchase at least 3 or 4 more carts, but then there's also other pieces of technology that we're doing with this as well. So it's not just the Chromebook carts.
Okay, and the 3 carts are there, it's just, there are no Chromebooks in the carts?
Yes,
right?
well, that's with the
Okay.
Chromebooks,
How
yeah.
many are in each cart?
We usually put
24 or 30.
24, they can fit 30, but our elementary class sizes are so small now that we generally do 24.
Oh, okay, great.
These are the carts we just said we're not using anymore?
Yeah, they're using them, the carts. But we don't use them at middle and high school anymore, that's what he meant to say.
Yeah,
They all do everything.
they're moving those down.
Okay. Any other questions? You guys good? All right. So that knocks out that. So we have ceiling tile replacement and replace roof replacement at Hadley and
Yes.
Cushing, and replace roof trim and fascia
Right,
at Hatherley School.
correct.
Are these related to the ongoing water issues?
The ceiling is, the fascia and trim is not. That's just, 50 years of, you can only paint it so many
So
times.
that's not that section of the roof that they've just worked on?
No.
The flat.
No, but when the water damage occurred last year at Hadley and Cushing, a lot of it was in the kindergarten areas, the hallways, the foyer, the offices, and as you, if you've been in those buildings, they have the small 9-inch tiles, which are impossible to get now. Those are the original 1964
The staple up.
Stapled up, yeah.
small,
Oh, yeah.
that just fit in. So the problem is, when those come out,
Yeah.
you got holes all over the place. We've done some patching right now to sort of get through the year, so at least it looks presentable. But really what we need to do in there is put some drop ceilings.
So we've got $40,000.
Yes. For 2 drop ceilings, and that'll be in lobby, office, hallway, and it will get us into the kindergarten rooms,
It may get us there, yeah.
in the kindergarten rooms.
This is both schools, same
This is
thing.
both
same thing,
schools,
both
same
schools.
thing, both
Yes.
schools. Yeah, they're
These are
they're
the two
mirrors of
twin
each other.
schools? Yeah.
They're twins.
All right.
Yeah.
So when we say kindergarten rooms, it's the same rooms, it's the same, the office, the same configuration.
Just leave the junk there.
Yes, and go right underneath it.
Have we fixed the roof leaks?
Yes, the roof leaks are fixed. And one of the things about the roof leaks, because as you know, we came in with a lot less of a fixed price than what we originally were talking to you last year. I mean, we were originally looking at, we were asking for like $140,000 per roof. It was like $280,000, and we thought we were going to have to replace the entire roof, and we didn't know what we would find underneath. And I think the concern of this committee was what would we find underneath?
Yeah,
And you don't have enough money. And so when we finally got in there and did the inspection and got it up, and, it was not the fix we thought it was, and it was a lot less costly. So that's been sealed, fixed. The roof leaks, and there were some leaks this year during one windstorm, but it had nothing to do with what we repaired. That worked fine. Those are in other areas of the building. Those roofs in the other areas of buildings are approaching 20 years old. So they're about 20. So they're getting up there. you know, again, you're going to have to make a decision at some point here in the next 3 to 5 years of what are you doing with those schools. And those two schools obviously need the most attention. They're the ones that either we're going to put, you know, a lot of money into renovating them, which is, you know, renovating the storefronts, windows, tiles, ceilings, you know, several $1 million, or you're going to look at, you know, a new model and perhaps building a new school. So that's going to have to be something that you evaluate. You know, we've done the demographic study, we've got the enrollment projections, we know where we're going to be for the next 10 years. We're going to stay relatively low on elementary. We'll come up a little bit, but not much. So, you know, we're going to have to make a decision on what we put into those schools and for how long we expect them to last. They're both over 50 years, and that's your ceiling when you hit that. Schools have to either be renovated or replaced. And so those are your two that you're going to have to work at. Wampatuck's older, but you've put money into Wampatuck, so that's an...
And it has an addition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in my opinion,
Later.
Wampatuck's a little better constructed, in my opinion, but that's, I'm not a builder. Well, I've actually learned a lot about building.
I know you two had questions.
Yes.
Yep.
How long, who did the enrollment projection for you?
We had that by a Cropper out of Ohio, and what they do is they've done projections all over the country. They've done them in Massachusetts. I have the demographic study. I can send it to you. It's fascinating. If you, yeah, I could. Oh yeah, absolutely. I would. It's on our website, but I will. It may be buried a little bit by now, but I'll send it to you if you want to take a look at it. They do a phenomenal job of really looking at everything. They spend 3 days here in Scituate. They look at a lot of data. They look at enrollment. They look at construction. They look at births. They look at. They do. It's a lot of study, and you know the numbers show that we're going to be continuing to decline and then level off. You know, and what they show, even our high school in 2025 is going to be probably in the range of about 740 to 760 students in 2025.
May I ask how many we have right now?
We have 913.
That's interesting. The concern I have is, do they have the most recent data? For example, apparently the MBTA is going to put 84 apartment units in
Yes.
Greenbush.
Yes.
And we have the big project across from the police and fire station.
They spend time here at Town Hall getting all of
Lots
that, any data.
individual homes.
Yeah.
They have seen the latest.
Yeah, and what they do is they come back and they test it for 3 consecutive years. So before they will actually certify that their 2025 number is accurate, they will do 3 test cases of their numbers. So they've already done 1, because they did this study last year. They've already done 1. They'll do 2 more. And they look for changes and trends and things that are happening, you know. And things that are not necessarily on the planning table yet, that nobody's projected, wouldn't necessarily be in their numbers, you know, but...
Yeah, well, that's
you know,
what concerns you about the Greenbush project.
Yeah. It's got to be on the planning stages for them to get to 2025. And again, they'll give you 10 years, and they'll feel relatively comfortable after 3 years of what that 10 years is going to look like. But they've been right on so far in terms of what they projected for this year. They've only, you know, so we're only in year one of this 10-year projection.
So they wouldn't be suggesting a 5th elementary school?
No. Matter of fact, it'd probably be suggesting 3 instead of 4.
Really?
Yeah.
So we could let one go. That's interesting.
And one of the interesting things that they learned that we didn't see coming, because we didn't have this data, is Jenkins School. Jenkins School at not too long ago was 650 students, and it's, you know, it's now down to 4. With 6th grade there, it's down to 440.
That's interesting.
And that's been in 3 years. That drop has occurred in 3 years. We didn't see that coming. Nobody saw it coming. They saw it. When they looked at our data, they said, we would have seen this. Because that's what they look at. And we have enrollment trends by neighborhood, too, which we never had before. So we get to look at each elementary school neighborhood and what the trends are in each of the districts. Who's growing, who's not. And Wampatuck is our growing district right now. And Jenkins is dropping. Now, that'll change. The other thing that they found is, you know, Scituate has a population that's aging. People age in place here. They don't tend to educate and leave. They tend to age in place. I mean, I'm not looking at this board, of course, but they tend to.
I think that's going to change, though.
It will
John,
change.
because the taxes in here have skyrocketed in the last couple of years.
It will change.
And what that's going to push us. Our average tax bill, okay, has gone considerably up.
Right. You know what?
You look when the
yeah.
state ranks from 1
Yeah.
to 350, we're climbing.
Right.
And that's going to put downward pressure on, on people to move out of here. And one of the benefits of Scituate, and I've grown up here, I don't know, there's a couple others in the room that have, and I was educated in the public schools here, was that a lot of people came back.
Yes.
Okay, or after they educated their kids, they stayed, like you said.
Correct.
Okay? In other communities, we all have friends in Duxbury and
Yep.
Hingham and Norwell. They come in, they use the good public schools,
And they leave.
and then they leave.
Yes. Yeah.
And we've been a little bit immune from that.
Correct.
But that's going to change.
Correct.
Because when you look at, I'm an assessor, when you look at our average tax bill, it's getting up there.
And they'll be able to, they've said that's in the report, that will come a time when you'll get that turnover. But right now, you're in a period with, I think your average age is somewhere around 47 and a half or so. They look at your, the female population of childbearing age. I mean, that's really what they use to sort of program their demographics. And our number has been shrinking down and down and down of that population. Another thing that's happening is young people aren't coming back here immediately. They're leaving, they're getting educated, and they're living elsewhere. Whereas maybe in the past they might have come back sooner, they're not. And so it's a fascinating, I'll send a copy to you and so that you can take a look at it, but it's a fascinating read of what's going on in the numbers. If you like numbers, there's a lot of numbers there. But it's an interesting story.
The only other comment I have is in recent years I've been going to Hadley and Wampatuck and so forth more than I have for a long time. And the general impression you get, now what's in the school going on is fantastic.
Yes.
But the buildings are getting very shop-worn,
Yes, they are.
much as this complex is too.
Yes. Yeah.
You get front steps that are deteriorating.
It's tough.
at night and-
I mean, if you look at, in this facility plan that we started, shared with you last year, there's a lot in there that we have to address. And you're absolutely correct that the environment itself, the facility is decaying.
Yeah.
What's going on inside, the education is fantastic, but the facility is really restraining us. And, I mean, we're going to be in this new middle school in September, and people are going to be like, well, we should have this for all of us. I mean, it's very impressive, and so I think we have to, this is the next thing, is what to do with Cushing and Hadley. I think that's the next decision that the community needs to make.
Should we put the money in once and for all, bring it up to?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking fairly basic but somewhat expensive things, like.
Yes.
Hammering
Yep.
the front step and replacing, a bunch
Yeah.
of items.
We've got it all in there. We've done it, and we've looked at it, and there's a lot of, there's millions of dollars, and, it adds up. You get into the big stuff,
But I wonder if we should, as a town, move that up a bit as a priority, and not do some other things.
This is what I would recommend. I know I won't be here, but this is what I'd recommend you do, is I think we complete, number one, let's complete this educational model report. Get it in the hands of the committee. I would suggest in the near future doing a feasibility study as early as next year as to what you should do.
Yeah, that makes some sense, and
Yeah.
then decide you're
Yeah.
gonna get rid of a school.
Exactly. Or we're going to renovate them. And I think that's really where you are right now. Because you're at that decision point. We're either going to put a lot of money into it, or we're going to replace. So, and if we replace, to replace with two or to replace one. And that's something the town is going to have to wrestle with, but
It raises interesting questions.
It
like,
does.
should, Hadley be a new senior center or something, but seriously.
well, one of the things about Hadley, from a site standpoint, don't lose sight of this. Right now, it's 18 acres. It's one of our largest school sites. Yeah, it's got the most land.
It's a nice part of town.
It's a nice piece of property.
Yeah.
So, whereas, you're restricted in some of the other areas. I mean, Cushing's got some limitations.
But it's part of this whole
It's
complex.
part of this complex.
70 acres.
Yeah, I don't think you'd want to part with that land ever.
No, but that'd be a beautiful fields adjacent to the
Yes.
high school. That would make a nice park. Really would. So,
It's an interesting
yeah,
topic.
it is.
Yeah.
But I think that's your timeline. Let's get the educational model first. Figure out, are we staying with neighborhood schools? Are we moving to an upper elementary, lower elementary?
Yeah.
What are we doing? And then do the feasibility study. But I would do it soon. I would put that on for next year.
All right.
It's actually in our plan somewhere.
It's in the 19 plan.
Yeah, it's in the plan.
Any other questions on what we've got? Roof trim
Yeah.
and ceiling tiles?
Ceiling tiles, yeah.
I think that closes us out.
Okay, great.
Nothing big this year.
Nothing huge, but, enough.
Well, gentlemen, thank you.
We got a big thing over there. I mean, that's,
Yes,
that,
yeah. Be happy with that for a
we're
while.
very happy with what's going on over there.
When will the new school open?
That will open in September, but we, right now, we've scheduled the ribbon cutting for August 27th. It's a Sunday, if we can get the MSBA to get down here on that day, because they want to be part of the ribbon cutting. And then we'll open it up for
Sunday,
tours.
yeah.
It's a Sunday, yeah. We'll open it up for tours, and
And will that be the Performance Center too?
Performing Arts Center should open in April, but it's I was in there today, and we still have a lot of electrical and rigging to do, so. And then they've got to test it out, then we've got to train on it, so it's going to be open in April, but what actual April date, I can't tell you right now. But we'd love to open it up and have people see it, so that's going to be an opportunity too, very soon.
The cost's pretty good?
Oh, yeah, we're doing well. We're doing very well on the budget. Excellent, yeah.
It's going to be when it opens, it'll be the best facility anywhere.
State of the art. Yeah.
I'm sure that.
Yeah, it's going to be, yeah.
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 So somebody else goes at like.
But we were down in Duxbury, and they have a beautiful facility, and it's large. I don't know if you've ever been in there, and but it's 15 years old, and ours, they were drooling over some of the technology we're going to have in our building versus what they have.
Does this become the new model school?
It's very interesting. We have actually, we're in discussions with MSBA. Every year they showcase a school, and so they might want to come down and showcase this middle school next February.
That'll be nice.
Very good, gentlemen.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much. So for the rest of the committee, we need to vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have one project you have not yet discussed, which is the ADA transition plan.
I saw that.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
which is not, there it is, right there. Board of Selectmen Disability Commission. They weren't on this agenda.
$50,000, isn't it?
So
Who's representing?
I can start it for you and see where we go with questions. The last transition plan was done in 1995, shortly after the American Disabilities Act became a law, and it has not been updated since then. So it is significantly out of date.
Hey, Mike. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
It needs to be updated for the changes in the law, as well as to see what buildings now, how they comply. So the law has changed in the last 20-plus years, but the plan has never changed, and any improvements to the buildings have not been recognized in the plan, nor do we know if there are additional improvements that now are necessary that we want to identify to make barrier-free access.
Is this is just to draw up a new plan?
Exactly.
Correct. To hire someone to assist us with that.
Which buildings does it include?
All of
It
them,
would cover all municipally owned buildings.
everything.
Including the schools? No, not the schools, but everything else? Okay.
Sidewalks, roads,
Including sidewalks and roads, that's
for
interesting.
curb cuts and things.
Yeah, that's a lot,
That's why it's 50,000.
yeah. That's interesting. And what does it do? Identify projects where?
It's like a
attention's
capital
needed?
plan for barrier-free access, so, sort of doing
Yeah.
stuff ad hoc or responding to concerns that come before the Commission of Disabilities, instead of them sort of doing them piecemeal. This does a comprehensive look, so we can actually plan to do some number of capital HP improvements each year.
So this is a study of all the buildings, and they come up with a plan of what everything
And
needs?
what it will cost to.
Okay,
So
all right.
then we'll know exactly how big it is to do it. And like Nancy said, it's been a while, and we have a really active Commission on Disabilities right now. And this is something that, we've come to a conclusion along with the selectmen that instead of, like I said, sort of going on a reactive basis, we can be really proactive to do this.
So essentially, you end up with an agenda then that this should be addressed next.
It's like, it'll be like a capital plan, Jack.
Yeah, exactly.
And because our population is aging too, and we're doing a lot with CPC to make more places accessible, I think it's a really opportune time and maybe even a little tardy.
Yeah, well, it's like the schools. The schools are wonderful, but the buildings are
So
a bit of reason.
it doesn't, well, I mean, will it encompass the Gates School? I mean, does the study look at that? You know, or is it still a school?
Well, we define the scope,
Oh,
so it wouldn't look at it as a school, but if somebody's
Right.
using it, like recreation is going in
Mhm.
there. So it's gonna look at the ones currently in place, for
Right.
sure, and then.
You wouldn't look at the mine at fire station.
right.
Currently in use.
Nobody wants to look at the Mitchell Ave station.
Landscaping storage. All right, any other questions on ADA transition plan?
No.
Well, then, thank you very much. So now, am I at the end of my agenda?
Time for you to make
It's time.
recommendations, Mr. Chairman, keeping in mind before you have new members, and this is your first chairmanship, congratulations, almost the end of it.
I can still run?
Congratulations,
I can
Chris.
still run?
You did a wonderful job, and so appreciate all the work that you have been doing. Any recommendations that the committee wishes to change in the plan from what's been recommended to you? If you are adding something, we need to find a funding source for it. If you're changing something, we need to address how that's going to impact the rest of the plan. So things such as the granulated carbon filter that the DPW brought before you.
Mhm.
If you want to accommodate that, we would need to try to fit it in with what's already been appropriated for the water enterprise, because the budget has been done. Same thing with general fund, if you need to change something around, we need to find a funding source. If something gets not funded and there's a cost to that not being funded, then we have to talk about how we're going to fund that. So we'll see how it goes as projects come before you. And I'll let you know if anything has a cost. If it's not recommended, it has an additional cost if you change the recommendation from your wisdom that comes with doing all the projects.
Very well. Everybody clear on that?
Yes. I have something to say about the marina when we get there.
Okay.
But
I made a visit.
Yeah.
I did a field trip.
I got enough, so that's good. I was gonna ask about that front, so it makes sense to do it when we get to it.
It does, because at present you have no ground fault protection. You have a ground fault monitor. You ever see those commercials where they have the guy in the bank saying there's a holdup? And they say, aren't you going to do something? And he says, no, I'm just a monitor. Well, that's all you have down there is a monitor. So it tells you there's a problem, but it doesn't do anything. It doesn't drop the power out. So you have zero ground fault protection at the marina.
It's dangerous.
It's dangerous, exactly. So for life safety, I would recommend doing it.
very well.
Well,
So,
do you want to insert that at the right point?
What's that?
Do you want to insert that recommendation?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start at the top of the list and work
Sure.
down. So, bottom of the page.
List now.
Yes, there's no front of the page. Let's start with Widows Walk. The Widows Walk irrigation system. They were looking for $25,000 for design of the new irrigation system. I spoke to a friend of mine who's a superintendent at another golf course. He said that number is well within
Oh, yeah. It's,
appropriate.
Yeah, this quote was based from an irrigation consulting firm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, do we have a vote?
Yeah, I would move we recommend that project to town meeting. I
Second.
think that's.
All in
I
favor?
agree. Aye.
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 Any opposed? Note of procedure. Do I have to write down who makes the motion, who?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
You might want
being-
to write on the sheet
being
next to
recorded.
it, just with initials.
I write too big.
You want me to take notes for you?
Can you?
Yeah.
You're the best.
Just on the motion.
Thank you.
We're on
Yes.
tape too, Chris.
Huh?
We're on tape too.
Oh, good,
so-
we're on tape. I can record this. This is audio only, right?
Yeah.
Strictly audio?
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't make faces.
you going in order?
Just, yeah, right,
Yes.
right from Widows Walk all the way down.
Oh, you flipped it.
We start on the second page, though, just to make life.
That's where we started, though, with all the meetings.
Yeah.
We
So,
started-
let's start.
No, that's fine, I just wanted to
Take
follow.
care of the winners and
It's not in my book, so it's,
Far be it for us to go in order.
Well, Chris, you started on the enterprise fund, so you might as well run, you know, on the,
yeah, I'm just gonna go right down that,
Yeah.
right down the page.
Yeah.
All right, so, Maura, you caught up?
Yep.
Okay, moving on to the Widows Walk HVAC replacement, 90,000 out of their enterprise receipts. Did he ever give us the quotes on that? He was supposed to come back with a quote. He did.
Updated information when he came before you the second
What's that?
time.
It's too much money.
Your say on the amount of money?
That's all, it's excessive.
It's excessive.
is.
I agree.
It's excessive, yeah.
Mhm.
If we recommend, and town meeting approves 90, can they only spend it on HVAC, or does that give them funds to do other things with?
It's the funds.
It's only
to
for
do
that
the
project, right?
With.
Only for that project.
Yeah.
So it's restricted to that project.
Yeah.
So if they want
It's
to
not like the
not
school.
spend that much, they can come back and say
Not
it's
gonna become a
unused.
soccer field at Jenkins. Okay.
It was,
Yes.
yeah.
He came back.
Mhm.
No, seriously,
It's excessive.
I think we've got three of us here who think it's probably more than they need. But if it just either gets spent on HVAC or goes back into the fund, I don't know.
Well, they're also talking
Do you have
about
a sense of-
redoing the building, too, so it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which we're-
Do we have a sense of what would be a better number than 20,000?
it was a three-zone VRF system.
10-ton carrier,
you were provided with quotes.
Yes.
yeah,
one foot.
that was the commercial boiler systems, that was this quote
Mhm.
for.
It was three-zone VRF system.
Yeah,
Yes, I do have it.
so he has 60,000 for this, and there was another 20 for the maintenance building.
The maintenance building was 12,000 on top of that. So one was
72,000.
59, and then 12 on top of that for the maintenance building.
And then there was contingency.
Yes, 9,000, I thought.
That's what brought him up to the 70,000. Do we think 70,000 is a better number?
I could live with that.
I could live with that.
Sure.
Yeah,
I can live with that.
still sounds nuts, but.
It sounds like a lot of money,
Yeah.
but
Do you want to do 60?
if it comes, well,
No, you know, we can't,
We don't nickel
you
and
know,
dime.
yeah,
70's
we're not-
fine.
And they
yeah.
don't spend it all, it goes back.
that's right.
Exactly.
It goes back.
Exactly.
You don't want to nickel and dime it too much.
No, you
70's.
So we want to amend their request to 70,000?
Second.
80. Wasn't it 80?
80 was when they came in at with the contingency.
It was 60, 12, right, 80.
It was
Sorry, my bad.
59, 12, and 9.
Yep.
So we move that we recommend an amount of 70,000 to town meeting. Will we actually get up and
Second.
move that amendment, would you, as our chair? I think that's what we have to do.
Yes.
It's not an amendment. Whatever the main motion is, you can make your main motion at an amount that you want.
Do we make the main motion on these capital? Probably do.
So we make the motion to approve 80,000.
No, 70.
70.
70.
Who
Okay.
made the motion?
One of us should make that. I will make
70
that
or
motion.
80?
for clarity's
70.
sake.
60,
So Jack Whitaker
12, and then 8.
moves 70,000 for the HVAC project
Mhm.
at Widows Walk.
Are we approving 80 or 70?
You going to second it, Frank?
Well, we're going to cut it short, that's,
I can
The maintenance building is, the maintenance building is 12.
Yeah.
Just for round numbers. The clubhouse is 60.
That's
So
72.
that's 72, plus
Mhm.
an $8,000 contingency is 80,000,
Mhm.
right? Are we clear?
Mhm.
80.
It's one estimate.
So we're making the motion to amend their request to...
To 80.
80,000,
Are we? 80?
yes.
It's not too much.
We've got hard quotes for it.
All right, let's,
And if it comes,
Yeah,
it's
you've got one quote.
got one quote, he's going to have to get more, obviously.
Larry said,
think we need
I
more.
move that we recommend $80,000 for the HVAC project at Widows Walk. Is
Yes.
someone wants to second that?
I'll second it.
Okay, good.
All in favor?
Motion on
Aye.
the floor, aye.
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 So that's 80.
Any opposed?
Yeah,
Oh, come on, there must be somebody.
you don't vote.
No,
no.
then I'm
No,
not.
and Anthony can't vote.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Yes.
point of order, who made the second motion?
I did.
Seconded. Can you
Give it to Frank.
just
Oh.
Announce it just so I can hear it. Thank you
Oh.
very much, Frank. Got it?
Okay.
And
Yeah. It's-
Widows Walk irrigation.
Widows Walk irrigation system construction, this is just a transfer?
So we're creating
part of
a
the-
capital stabilization fund for Widows Walk, and this would put $185,000 of receipts in that capital stabilization.
So looking for
towards the irrigation.
2.5 million.
We know it's going to be quite costly.
They're looking for 2.5 million for the project.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Any discussion on that?
Well, I move approval of the 185,000.
I second.
And again, just so the committee understands, that can't be touched without a two-thirds vote of town meeting.
Okay,
So once it's in there, it can't be used for anything.
We're just
Town
tying
meeting
it up
says
for
so.
that purpose, yeah.
that's good.
Good.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Chair.
But thank you.
Where was it?
Thank you for
Oh,
interjecting.
You had a second?
I seconded it.
Yes,
All in
you
favor?
second. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on. Down to Water Department, redevelopment of public wells, 100,000 out of retained earnings. This is part of,
4 wells are 25,000 each.
yep. Any discussion?
I approve. I recommend it.
Motion to recommend. Chris made the motion, Jack with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. All opposed? Dolan Wellfield Development, 200,000 out of retained earnings. Any discussion?
This is water assessment and that sort of thing? Or are we actually going to hook up the Dolan well field into the water
It
system?
wasn't
Pursue
hooking,
permitting.
it was pursuing permitting.
That
The
that includes
several-year permitting process, in which case they will have to do the borings and test the water
new
again.
borings.
Yeah,
Yes.
Unless they can find the original holes, but I'm sure at this point they probably filled in.
I doubt
You
it.
don't know where they are, Jack?
I think it's something-
They may still be there.
Well, if they
Anyway.
can, then certainly can make use of them, that would
Mhm.
lower the cost.
Right.
And
Lower the cost,
engineering,
but-
get us farther into the permit process.
But they have to get deep into where these artesian wells will go, either through the existing drilling that took place. Now, you're right, it's like 30 years ago now. And then they have to assess the quality of the water. And that's a concern I have, because about a year ago, this all came up, the Dolan well field, with the Water Resources Committee were with us. And I asked at the time, and they said, oh, no, not with the drains that close to it. Which surprised me, because we run a state highway across Reservoir. But they seemed to think that the quality of the water was poor and was compromised by the railroad. That's right. And I guess the fungicides and that's whatever they're putting out on the railroad. And many years ago, I was on this is back when you were the director and I was on the advisory committee, we bought all of this at great trouble and expense. And right after that, I remember there was a water test done. And I can remember Rich Bowen, who was a young selectman at that time, saying, wow, it doesn't look like we're ever going to get that up and running. And that was your time. I mean,
It was marginal.
It was marginal,
That's
yeah.
why we didn't really
Yeah,
proceed with the project. It
yeah.
was,
So
Didn't really need it then, so.
that was my understanding, is they
Okay.
decided, well, this is marginal, so we'll just put it on hold, and it was never developed. And it was quite a battle royal with poor old Eddie Dolan of late memory to get that land. They had to do it through a regular formal eminent domain taking. Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth on it. We're only spending 200,000 to see whether it is good, right?
Right,
Yeah.
things may have changed in the 30 years, it may have
Oh, it may-
declined or it may have improved. We don't know.
Right.
But this will finally answer that
If I were to
question,
guess,
whether that's
it's
a
worse.
viable well site.
There's been a lot more building upland from that, from Creelman Drive and all that. It all feeds down there.
You'd have to go through the whole process
Yeah.
again.
But it was permanent 30 years ago.
Right.
Was it really? That's
It was.
interesting.
And so Kevin went to DEP.
They had the
hoping
permit.
We could still use the original permits,
Yeah.
but to your point, Jack,
Mhm.
they want us to do it again.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
Do
Well, if
it.
they
Yeah.
approve it, we can hook it up and filter it and so forth.
God knows we need it.
We do need it.
So,
Mhm.
Yep.
I am making a motion to approve or recommend the Dolan Wellfield development.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Upgrade of the 1991 trackback system. Everybody remember what the trackback
Yes.
was, right? Any discussion on that? It's needed.
I move the 80,000.
I second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? The reservoir feed project.
Mr. Chairman, if I might.
You may?
Yes.
So when Kevin came before you and Sean Anderson about this project, they were trying to get more information if they could lower the cost, and he's still working on that. He did speak today to the DEP, the DEP representative conservation works with, and they did confirm that water, public water supply is more priority than wetlands protection. So they could come at the reservoir feed project, not going along the road, but going back to the woods.
Oh, good.
Up to,
So that
What was
project
the
needs to
Old
be
Forge?
That was it.
calibrated
What's
for
that?
cost.
where is it? Where is it?
Oh,
Yeah,
It's coming up from 17.
yeah.
If the cost needs to be recalibrated, and one of the things that the water division also brought before you is that the granulated carbon replacement filter.
Well, there's their- there's their
$150,000.
saving.
Yes.
Yeah.
If that could be applied, and that project is still very much of earnest need to them, that it was probably ranked 8th when the plan was submitted. It has since moved up far more in their degree of concern, so it would have received a higher rating had the developments occurred back in the fall when we were reviewing the plan. So I would ask that the committee consider that if the savings from the reservoir feed project are sufficient to handle the other project as well without incurring any further costs, because we really are taking the water enterprise retainers low, and we
Sure.
don't want to incur any more borrowing. If the committee would consider approving those projects together, if the funding worked out that way. If it did not, such as life, then we can look at to a future town meeting to deal with one or the other.
So matter of procedure, how do we say that? How do we combine that? Do we say, we recommend this project and,
Contingent upon more definitive pricing.
we recommend the reservoir feed project contingent on more definitive pricing?
Right. And I would
With these
make a
savings
motion
applied
for the
to-
property. So essentially, you approve it, but it's contingent upon them providing better, more concrete numbers. 'cause-
What is the
And then-
project? I don't know, what is it?
This is the project they
Well,
want,
17,
yep,
Into the reservoir.
they want to divert the water into the reservoir.
Not on a permanent basis, but just
No.
at certain times of
Yeah.
the year
Yes.
to help replenish the reservoir. And then the other one is to
How?
replace the granulated carbon
they're
filter.
going to do that.
It was,
Piped?
Pipe, yes.
yeah, they were piping it.
Yeah, we bypass the
Really?
treatment.
17, isn't that already done?
Bypasses the treatment.
This was 17.
It would still go.
A, but yeah.
For when the reservoir.
Not according to them, wasn't it?
what are they doing? What water is being diverted and where?
From well 17.
Well 17 to the reservoir.
And well 17
Down
is
the
the
west
one
end.
that's
Up, what do you say, up on
across
the
the...
tack factory.
Greenbush.
It wouldn't be, it's not a permanent thing, it's not all the time, it would be at off times. If the supply was available, they could then help to replenish the reservoir.
So they're going to take water from well 17, which is near Tack Factory Pond,
Yep.
Yes.
pipe it down into what, the Tack Factory Pond watershed-ish, and then come down into the reservoir.
Yeah, they would pipe it down.
Okay.
So it wouldn't, it doesn't come directly into the reservoir, it comes into that, to the feeder.
Yeah.
Feeder.
That-
To like a
Yeah,
watershed.
the little pond across the street from the reservoir. is where it'll
Well,
come
yeah,
into.
it comes down
Yeah.
into that.
Mhm.
And then we're gonna do it when there's a drought, right?
Only when it's
Only,
necessary,
yeah.
and if they don't need well secondly online for full production when it's doing, so it would be a long time.
Interesting.
Provides
What
another-
what is the money gonna buy, piping to do that?
Yes.
The money completes the project, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was why there was so much cost, because they were going to have to come down to the road, have to leave details, pick up the road. If they come down, do it in the woods, they don't incur those costs.
Would it make sense for a town to just appropriate the money that's needed to do that, or?
Well, the question is, one, do you want to tie up all that money in one project if you don't need it, if they can refigure their numbers before town meeting?
Yeah.
And two, they have another project of need that they would like to bring forward.
So we want to approve the project, but we want to say,
The savings would go towards the carbon filter.
Right.
If indeed this does
Mhm.
lower the cost. So
Sure.
where he just got confirmation today, he thought it would significantly lower the cost. Great, do the numbers. Get the-
By half or by-
What do you need to do this project? We already have an
Mhm.
estimate for the carbon of 157.
Mhm.
Is that still a good quote? The quote that's in the book was good through the spring of 2017.
That's because putting it into the system, there's a problem with
That's
the
right.
water itself.
right,
Has high manganese.
That's right.
And the magnets, yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
and that
So
was
that
the
dissipate-
problem.
yep.
Putting it in directly in the system.
That's right.
You contaminated services in that area.
Mhm.
So now you want to put it into the reservoir.
To dilute it.
to dilute it, right.
Is that smart?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to make a motion to approve the reservoir feed project contingent on updated pricing?
Not to exceed what is currently,
Not to exceed
you
Mhm.
don't want it to be more than what you've already.
the current request of 290.
290.
So not to exceed 290.
So contingent,
Do we mention the carbon, do we mention any savings to put towards, or do we make another motion to put any savings?
I think you would make another motion for the other project.
Okay.
Okay, I'm confused. Is the carbon replacement project related to the reservoir feed project?
No, it's separate.
Only if we get the savings from the
So-
reservoir feed.
So the reservoir feed project is recommended for 290,000. If I understand you correctly, because it doesn't have to go under the road, there's a substantial potential cost savings there. All right, so the motion is not to exceed 290,000, it's just to approve it contingent on firmer pricing. So that's the first motion I would suggest, Mr. Chair.
So the motion to approve the reservoir feed project contingent on firmer pricing.
Yes.
Anyone second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Frank with the second?
We should approve that now, or should we wait until just before town meeting when there's maybe more updated information?
Well, we're approving it now, and then it could change by town meeting.
It could always be amended also on the floor of town meeting that
What you're
night.
saying is you approve it, but you're not
Yeah.
approving the dollar number.
Okay.
You don't know what dollar number to approve.
Oh, so we're not approving.
We're not approving 290,
Oh, that sounds
we're
great.
approving
The
project
The better price.
contingent on
And
firmer
remember,
pricing.
the monetary amount can change on the
Yep.
floor of town meeting, although we'll certainly have that well beforehand.
And we will
maybe
insert an
more
appropriate
Tuesday when
amount
you
in.
come into the board meeting.
Right,
Okay,
okay.
Okay.
thank you.
And I do apologize to Penny and Tricia for that.
No, that's
this is
okay, I
coming
just
on the
want,
fly so quickly.
right, I mean, Nancy just found
Not
about
the
this
easiest thing to
relatively.
describe.
No problem.
I don't have a problem with that idea. It's a-
All in favor?
All right?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Oh, sorry, And then similarly, depending on your pleasure on the carbon replacement, you would do the same motion.
So we're going
You
to
have
make,
to do both if they exceed the 290.
we're going to make a motion to approve the carbon
Replacement.
just carbon replacement.
Granulated carbon
Gran-
material
mhm.
replacement filter.
Yes.
Maura, you got that? Contingent on firmer pricing.
Yes.
Motion's been made.
I will second it.
Jack with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And Mr. Chairman, once I get that pricing from Kevin, I'll email it to you because we'll be making a recommendation to Board of Selectmen advisory. We'll have all that buttoned up beforehand, so the full committee knows what the numbers really are.
Excellent, thank you. Replacement of the 2004 Chevy Colorado pickup. They were gonna get a 3/4 ton Dodge pickup with a plow. Any discussion? I make a motion to recommend the replacement of the pickup truck number 32.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Good. This is contingent. Moving on to transfer station. Landfill gas piping, 175,000 out of retained earnings. It's a necessary project. Looks pretty simple. Any discussion?
I would move to 175.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved. Moving on to the sewer. Copper limit reduction implementation, 420,000. This hasn't been an ongoing project. I know it's necessary. I make a motion to approve copper limit reduction implementation.
Second. Oops, one second.
Joe with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Infiltration, inflow, I&I, 2.5. And this was concentrating the project out at the lighthouse area.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve I&I.
I'll second.
Jack with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. SCADA upgrade, pump stations, Phase 3. This is computers, 45,000 out of retained earnings. It's an ongoing project. Approved, we've approved all the other phases.
If I approve, I move.
You would make a
I'll
motion?
second it.
Jack with a motion, Joe or Frank with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Sorry, I was on
Nope. Rehab of clarifier number 3, and Frank has volunteered to do it. 50,000 out of retained earnings, and I'm donating half of that to watch him do it.
If you would, I would do it.
Sure you want to recommend this? I don't know.
I've gone scuba diving in worse places.
Nice. I want to know.
That's gray water. Remember, that's gray water.
Sort of trust the experts. You don't have a problem with this project, do you?
No.
No.
I make a motion to rehab of, or to approve rehab of clarifier number 3. Jack with a second?
Yeah, okay. Jack will second. Let's hope it-
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Frank and I just got reappointed too. Did you see your email from the town?
I didn't agree with it.
Yeah.
You don't want to be
He
reappointed?
protested.
I have to talk to
Any
him.
opposed?
Okay.
Negative, motion passes.
That's the third and final clarifier.
The third and
Yes.
final clarifier,
Never say
Just to be
final.
clarified.
just to be clarified. All right, general fund projects, road and sidewalk improvements, DPW, 400,000, 3 out of free cash, 1 out of taxation. Projects he mentioned were some on Hatherley. There was, what was the other project he mentioned? First Parish, west side? Is that one? Driftway was the other
Halfway
one.
down to
Yep.
St. Mary's. Yeah.
I make a motion to recommend road and sidewalk improvements.
Second.
Any all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Replacement of the diesel fuel tank, Phase 2, it needs to be replaced. I make a motion to recommend.
I'll second.
Frank with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Replacement of the 1986 Cat front-end loader, $170,000, $120 out of free cash and $50 out of capital stabilization. Make a motion to recommend.
Second.
Jack with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Fire Department, renovate station number 4 so we can fit bigger fire trucks. I make a motion to recommend.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Completion of the Jenkins School swing set project. Make a motion to recommend.
Second.
I'll second. Go ahead.
Joe with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Foreshore protection. This is the annual $200,000. We've passed it every other year. I make a motion to recommend.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Culvert improvements, construction, Bailey's, culvert improvement construction, Bailey's Causeway and Gilson Road. $400,000. I make a motion to recommend.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Was that Frank that seconded?
Yes.
Frank seconded, sorry.
Thank you.
Expand Cudworth Cemetery, Phase 2 of 3, $50,000. Make a motion to recommend.
Second.
Frank with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Make a motion that we do this all cluster-like next year. Removal of the Hatherley and Cushing modules. Make a motion to recommend.
Second.
Second. Good.
All in favor? Oh, Frank with a
Aye.
second?
Nope, give Joe. Joe got it.
Oh, did Joe second?
Joe got it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Ceiling tile replacement, Hadley and Cushing. Make a motion to recommend.
Second.
Joe with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Replacement of the turf carpet, the high school field. Recreation facilities, requested $445. That was the final number, right?
I don't know. Was it?
She gave us the quote.
RPS. I just, yeah,
That was a quote from Mara.
yeah,
These things are expensive.
They
yeah,
are.
fake grass. Make a motion to recommend.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Fire Department, replace the Zoll monitor. I make a motion to recommend.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Demolition of the police station, $250,000 out of free cash. I make a motion to recommend.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Show of hands, or is this a majority? It's not, doesn't have to be unanimous, just majority, right? Show of hands, 1, 2.
No. Okay. I make a recommendation to not recommend.
Well, any opposed?
Well, it's gone that way.
Well, all opposed, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so this is one of those items that if the capital planning committee decides not to recommend, they need to make a recommendation to how to fund the cost for that building. Basically, it's going to be a vacant building, it's going to be increased costs for the general liability insurance if it's not taken down.
Now, I'd
Okay,
like
we-
to see some real hard numbers on that.
Yeah.
We do have our quotes.
We're having these sort of vague statements. I'm sorry to be a little bit
Not a bad
brusque.
statement, Mr. Whitaker.
Why on earth would you insure an empty building? The lights are off, the heats are off, you're planning eventually to demolish it.
Because the insurance company requires it.
What insurance company?
The town's insurance company has estimated $9,000 for the premium plus an additional reserve if the building is vacant.
So how much does it cost you to insure that building now?
It's part of the general liability, you can look at the statement.
How much?
about it.
We need to know all these
We
figures.
need to know all
Oh,
this.
okay, we need everything.
All
Excuse
right.
me?
We need to
We
know
need to
everything.
know
We need
this
to know the figures, how
information.
much we're paying now to insure it, how much it's going to cost. Have you gotten other quotes to insure that?
The general liability insurer of the town insures all the buildings. We don't get other quotes. It's a general umbrella.
And they're saying if you tear down the police station, they'll give you a $9,000
No, they
discount.
won't give us 9,000.
They will?
They will not give us 9,000 if we tear it down. We have an increased cost for insuring if it's a vacant building. The same thing we discussed with the Gates building that's been discussed. If that building is vacant, that insurance goes sky high because there's nobody there to monitor it.
So-
No one will know if something happens.
So the cost of our general liability goes up $9,000 a year
For that.
if that building stays.
No, that's the premium associated with that building in addition to our general liability because it is vacant.
General liability plus $9,000 a year.
Plus, at a minimum, they did 9,000 plus when we got the quote.
Our insurance company is saying, if you do not tear down the police station, we will have to increase your annual premium by $9,000.
We
Now,
have
this
to
is a
put
vacant
additional
building.
insurance on that building because
There's
it is
nothing in it,
vacant.
there's no one going in, the doors are locked,
Yep.
the heat is capped. and
Get it
cut
in
off.
writing.
There's a cost that
Get
the
it in
town
writing.
is not carrying for
Get it in
capping
writing.
the heat.
Why aren't you capping it?
Because if you don't demolish it, then we have to cap off the heat.
Yeah,
That's right.
and that's gonna
And
cost you
that's
how
not a
much?
cost reflected in the operating
Well,
budget.
how much is it gonna cost you to, basically what would you do, dig a trench and cut the pipe and cap it?
Yeah, we have to go in.
Yeah.
Cap in the basement,
Yeah.
where it
So we're
originates.
talking there, 10,000, 15,000 maybe?
So now we're at 25.
Yeah. Well, what's a one-time cost to cap it?
Yep.
Now, what you gain is some planning. And we, at this point, have no idea what we're going to do with these three buildings or this land. There is no plan yet. And we have no idea what we're going to do with the old Gates building. Are we keeping it or selling it? Are we keeping these buildings in the long term or selling them? Are we going to renovate them? What's going to happen? And all that's very much up in the air. And what I worry about is we destroy that building and we don't really know what the plan is.
It's been proven that they're shown that the building is useless. It can't be renovated for anything. It's oversized closet space at this point.
Yeah.
So why bother keeping it? If there are thoughts to take that space and, reorganize the traffic pattern in this area, or any of that, I'd rather see that happen than to pay $9,000 to insure an empty building that is going to be torn down anyways.
Chris, I think we're buying some time until we
We're
have a
buying-
plan in place about what we're going to do with the old junior high.
But
We don't know what-
What are we buying? The building's going to get torn down.
We're not buying
Is it
anything.
going to get torn down?
No, what are we,
And what's gonna happen
what's
to
that
this
time,
building?
what's that time buying it? What is it, what is
What are we
it?
going to do with
What does
the
that
famous
building have to,
Minot
what does that
Fire
building have to
Station?
do with
It's
this
just sitting
building?
there. I mean, are we paying insurance for the Minot Fire Station? Well, we kind of use that for storage or
That's
something,
not
don't we?
insured.
That's not insured. And we're not paying any additional premium because it's just sitting there vacant. So why is this, which is a little bit bigger building, but clearly it's a building that we're just going to close.
If something happens to this building, it's directly adjacent to that tower, it's directly adjacent to this building, it's directly adjacent to the school. It would not seem reasonable that you would not insure it for something, if something were to occur where it's in such close proximity to other municipal facilities that are being used, and also a revenue-generating facility that has our microwave link for our public safety.
We would want to certainly insure the tower in this building because they're used and they're important buildings. But what would you be insuring? What loss, what potential loss are you insuring against in that?
That's a municipal asset.
A what?
It's a municipal asset. It
Yeah,
has
but what
value.
is the value of it once we close the door, turn off the lights?
The building value was 1.25 million.
For storage.
When we turn it down, it's a building that, to the best of our planning now, we think we're going to tear down at some point. And it's beginning to sound like we might very well be tearing down this building, we might very well be tearing down the fire station. I know there's at least one serious
Doing all at once.
proposal to turn all this into playing fields.
And I,
So
I'd
why
like to
not
add,
wait and get the
Chairman.
economy of scale? Why not wait and get some really tight planning?
And I respect the committee's position and their vote on that. All that I would say is, you've already, the town has already spoken about what they want to do with these two buildings, which was replace them. Town has not had any plan in front of
They
them
want
right
to
now.
replace this building with a
No,
new
the two on
building
either
here?
side, sorry, I'm pointing. The substation fire 3 on the other side of
The
town.
fire station that's next door, in this town hall, you're going to build a new building here?
No, no, no.
you're not.
No, no, no.
You're gonna tear
No,
it
the
down.
town
The
decided.
town's already spoken about what they want to do about those two buildings. They wanted to replace them, and they voted to replace them with a public safety complex. There's nothing before the town about this building currently. And there is no decision as to what is going to happen
That's
to the
right.
building, because there's no plan before this building.
That's, I think, our
There was a
point.
plan for those two buildings, which was that they are no longer feasible for municipal use for what they were intended for, so the public safety complex was brought forward. So I'm giving you my opinion. The committee has taken a vote. I respect the committee's vote and the committee's opinion as well. So that's why the project was recommended to you.
We're just saying, wait a year, let's see where we're at a year from now.
Come back to us next year.
Joe, did you have something to add?
I just want to clarify one thing. You said the 1.25 million appraisal of that building, when was that done?
That's the insurance company's carrying value on it.
Oh, that's not market value. An insurance value and market value are two totally different things. I just want to add that to the
Replacement
conversation.
cost.
No, I would just say that I believe the committee had a presentation by the chair of the committee that the board charged with to look at these buildings, and it was their recommendation to demolish this building. It has absolutely no value, and the additional cost of keeping that building vacant are not reflected in the operating budget, which cannot use free cash. So you need to come up with an additional sum of money if you recommend against this plan to increase the general liability and facilities budget to carry this building.
Now, wait a minute, there's an item in the operating budget for insurance in town buildings, right?
That's
How much
right.
is it this year?
No, it's just over 500,000.
So could the advisory committee please amend it for an extra $9,000?
So
Just in case we actually do have to pay more. I can't believe the insurance company's nickel-downing it like that.
You
on a
have an
vacant
option
building.
in front of
They do,
you.
they do. All right,
Or, like I said, if the committee chose not to move forward with one of the recommendations and something needs to be reworked, the first item in the general fund that you recommended, which is the road improvements, has a taxation piece to it. You could change that if you wish to.
where does the insurance premium appear? It's in the operating budget, right?
Yes.
Which is not in our purview.
Correct.
And
But
so,
that budget is
I guess
already
maybe we need to
balanced.
make a formal vote to recommend to the advisory committee to increase the premium in that line by $9,000. So that if that actually does happen, and the insurance company says, oh, sorry, we got to charge you insurance for a building you've closed a mothball.
Yeah.
Okay, we have enough in the operating budget, we have the extra $9,000. That's not what this committee does. We do capital. And I think what a majority of the committee is saying tonight is we don't think it's time yet to tear that building down.
So what
Because we don't
Nancy's
have
trying
a
to tell
comprehensive
you,
plan for this section of buildings. We don't.
I understand that, but
Okay.
what Nancy's trying to tell you is the budget is balanced. It doesn't have 9,000. You have to identify and recommend another source.
Maura?
Well,
I just wanted to point out that, you know, there's been extensive research on this by the building reuse, and it's been deemed that that building is really of no value in the future for us, and that the best recommendation is to turn it down. So I don't understand the logic to wait another 2 or 3 or 4 more years, because the cost to demolish that building is only going to increase. So I just ask you to consider that. And then secondly, oh God, what was my second thought? It's only going to increase in cost, and we don't see any use for it. So
Well,
And what my second thought was, with our financial forecast, looking out in the future, our operational budget is going to continue, our operational costs are going to continue to be, we're going to struggle because of the revenue projection for the next couple of years, with our healthcare costs rising, with our insurance costs rising, the amount of flexibility in the funds that we have to put into, I think this is, what is this coming out of? This is coming out of free cash, so you understand how that works, right? It's at the end of the year when we have that balance out of our operational budget, we are able to put it then into free cash to use at our disposal. You can see this free cash balance this year is very high, so we've got the liberty of having the funds available to us this year. So I just ask you to just reconsider, I know you made your vote, but just to sort of think of those things that, that's what's of concern to us looking down the road.
I think one of our roles is to advise the Board of Selectmen, et cetera. And here is what I think.
I think we should just keep-
possibly others, and that is that it would be better, in my judgment, to have a plan for this section of town buildings. The old police station, the about-to-be abandoned fire station, and this town hall. What exactly do we want to do with these three buildings as a group? And the buildings right now are hitched together. They have a common heating system, right, et cetera. It makes sense, I think, to do something with them, whether it's simply to bulldoze them all and make a nice soccer field here, or it's to sell it to a developer and
But I
do
think we
something,
can all
or
agree
to
that
build a
that
whole new
plan
town
is
hall.
many, many years down the road.
Okay.
But there is no plan
Well,
for
it's-
these three buildings. There is no plan for the Gates School. There was a very quick kind of summary presentation by, I guess she's the chair of the repurposing committee. But what is the town's plan? And I don't see it.
Because we're
Okay.
still working through some of
Yeah,
this.
well,
Yeah,
that's
so
fine.
that's
I mean,
it.
I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
trying to be a pain, but I don't see anything done.
So,
And $250,000 to tear down that building.
So,
Heck of a lot of money.
So I have the
if we just
email
decide
from the
now.
insurance company that I can read you for both this and
let's just
the
continue with the
Gates
vote.
Yeah, let's continue.
Says,
We already voted.
Here are the, we received through the market for the two vacant buildings. Rates are subject to change and will require full applications and inspections. The vacant police station has a building value of $1.25 million, and the premium estimate is $7,500. If the Gates School was to be vacant, the building value, there's a flat limit for schools, would be a flat rate of $5 million, and the premium estimate would be over $30,000. That's directly from our senior account executive at Maya. Chris, I'll forward this to you.
thank you. So, right now, the vote is
To not recommend.
to not
I recommend. Mhm.
So it's 2-3, 2-3,
Two, three, yeah.
right?
2-3, correct.
Regions.
That does save $250,000, so I'm not quite sure why it is that we're worried that we can't find the 9,000.
Well, let's just,
But, you know, it's just small.
All right.
just keep it,
All right.
it's, yeah,
So moving on.
not ours to.
Okay.
Next one, a little easier. School technology, 100,000, free cash.
I recommend.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Yeah,
You guys messed me up here, I'm out of my rhythm here.
now get back in your rhythm.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Replace the roof trim and fascia at Hatherley School. We cleared up that that had nothing to do with the
Roof leak.
previous roof leaks or anything. Motion to recommend.
So moved. I recommend.
Second.
I made the motion, Jack with a,
Joe with a second.
Joe with a second.
Aye,
All in favor?
aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 80, yeah, so we're at 88 transition plan. I make a motion to recommend.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. All right, so this is a transfer to capital stabilization fund. It's $100,000 from free cash to replace the 1987 rescue pumper for the fire department. I make a motion to recommend.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes.
Do we do future debt service?
Future debt service.
The chairman has not yet done that one.
Okay.
Oh, we missed it.
What did I miss?
Future debt service.
Oh, future debt service. It looked
Didn't have a
like-
number
it looked
next to it,
like-
that's
if you're
why,
right, it didn't
yeah.
have anything next to it.
I move the precise sum of $63,776. Maybe I'll get the town administrator really angry at me by saying 17 cents. No, I'm just kidding. 63,776.
Never, Mr. Whitaker,
Okay,
never,
good.
Mr. Whitaker.
I second.
Was-
And this is just this is a transfer
Yes.
of $63,776 to the capital stabilization fund.
It'll be unallocated for future use for.
For debt
future
debt
projects.
service, yep.
So Jack made the motion to recommend, I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Waterways. Upgrades to electrical system at the Cole Parkway Marina in Scituate Maritime Center, $43,000. Frank had a little update on this for us.
What's this all about? This is interesting.
So, at the marina, and actually, here, I'll give you a copy of my letter that I sent to Stephen. I think that's something, maybe I have two different letters, but anyways, it's the same letter. You can have it.
Just what, typed upside down? You want to give it?
No, it was, one was an email, one was the actual, a copy of the email. So I visited the marina twice. Once just to look and see what they had in place, and then second was to, actually I researched it, then I went back yesterday, and we removed the cover to see what was behind the cover. And there's a GFCI monitor, as I said earlier. All it does is monitor. It does not shut down the power should somebody, create a link to ground.
So essentially,
So, and it's a 600 amp breaker, so
it's like the mythical bank guy who says, not my problem.
there's a monitor there. I have pictures too of what's down there. This is the monitor.
Well, Frank,
It sits inside the panel.
What do you think?
What do I think? I think he's light on his calculation, his estimate.
Think he's light on the estimate?
What's that?
I just thought, maybe there's $250,000 in this one. Seriously, do you think we should recommend a higher amount? Or
I do.
just-
I do.
Frank, I thought
What's-
it would be like a two-phase project where we need to do.
Well, I would do,
Design first.
you have to do design first.
So what would the cost estimate be to do the design thing?
You're gonna have to get prices. I mean, I could,
All right, I mean, shouldn't that be the first?
that should be step one, but he's already started putting things in place to purchase items too.
No, he
No?
doesn't have the appropriation to purchase.
Okay.
We get quotes.
Oh, he has
all the
quotes and-
time.
he has quotes and
Yeah,
things,
in
but he
order
hasn't
to
purchased anything yet.
Solidify that, but,
Mhm.
I mean, that's probably the better thing is to just.
It needs to be engineered.
design And maybe look at it for a fall town meeting.
Although you're gonna go through the summer,
Unless you think it needs to be done much sooner.
I would take the marina, I mean, he's talking about doing across the way also, but
Just do.
just do the
That's what I
marina.
meant, the phase part, one marina and then the second.
Do the marina, do marina number one
Yeah.
now, upgrade, put both the, what do I want to say, contactor, the shunt trip breaker in. And then you can also wire the shunt trip switch, because he wanted to put that switch in to kill the power should they have another event like they had last summer when the cabling caught on fire.
So the one button that we.
Yes, and I recommended that they not keep the one button out on the gangway, but put it back towards the building so that somebody could hit it from inside the building, just go outside and hit it, or somebody would have to walk back and hit it, but.
And in the harbor master's defense, when he prepared his estimates, he did not find out from the electrical inspector and from the building department until later. He was beyond his submission process, that it's going to have to be engineered.
Okay, sure,
He did
sure.
not
Well,
realize that. He thought he just had to ascertain the cost to do the project, not realizing it had to be engineered first.
Maura, did you have something?
Frank, how much more do you think it would be?
Professional opinion.
Well, the questions I have is, can you get a shunt trip breaker for that panel? That panel is rather old by today's standards. So What you could do is leave the main there and then refeed the main with a shunt trip breaker. There's room inside there to put one in, but,
I mean, if we're gonna do it, shouldn't we do it right?
do it right, exactly. And that's, he's talking about doing it, in piecemeal. I would do the whole thing at
So
once.
is it another 10,000, is it another 20?
It's probably another 25,000.
And that's just for one marina?
That would probably do the engineering on both and do the one marina.
Construction of the first one.
Mhm.
An additional 25 on top of 43?
Yep.
That's not the whole project.
Will we save some money on the other things?
You're right.
Right?
I mean, it's a life safety issue, so that's why I'm recommending
You might
it.
as well do it all at once rather than piecemeal.
I mean, you have one person get electrocuted.
Well, that's it, would be.
I'm okay.
So we're going to make a motion to recommend, again, the project with contingent upon firmer pricing, or?
Yes. It has to be engineered, so I think we're looking to increase the price if possible.
To
Do you wanna-
70,000
do you wanna
or
recommend a
68?
higher
Do
number?
you want to recommend?
I mean, I'm comfortable adding the 25. I mean,
Mhm.
you're an electrician, so.
I'm an electrical engineer. I'm an automation software engineer. I mean, I looked at the devices, I know what's required by code. I'm just not going to stamp a set of drawings, that's,
So,
right now.
so I would make a motion to change this number to include the items that Frank recommended and add an additional 25,000 to that line item for a total of 88,000.
I'll second you.
43 plus 25?
Yeah.
68,
Oh,
right? I think you said 88, but I just,
There's management, there's finance.
I actually added.
that's okay. We all make mistakes.
Thank you, Joe.
I second it, my sum of 68,000
All
for
right,
that purpose. How's that?
68, okay.
We've been working since 8
All right,
this
so
morning.
you made the motion, so
Yeah.
she made the motion,
I second.
Jack seconded. All in favor of?
Aye.
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 68,000? Okay, yes. aye.
Of 68.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes for 68.
Yeah.
Is that another one of those we got to identify the funding source, or is that out of free cash or something
Well,
like
no, it's
that?
an enterprise.
It's an enterprise fund.
So they have
Oh.
retained earnings.
Mhm.
The general fund ones are tough because it's from different source of funds. You guys get to borrow and use free cash.
Dock de-icer, 74,000. I like the idea of it. Make a motion to recommend.
Second. I like that presentation.
I do too.
Yes.
Very sound, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. How'd I do?
Good. Can I ask a question?
Awesome.
You may ask a question.
Earlier discussion, I think Nancy mentioned that we really should find the $9 grand by removing one of these other items. Is that what you're suggesting, Nancy?
That was something you could do. If the committee wanted to do that, they could have changed the funding sources around for the road and sidewalk improvements. It didn't seem like the committee wanted to do that at the time.
And that would free up 9,000
Then you
go
would
in
have
the
9,000
operating
available
budget,
for
paid
taxation
additional.
that you could then apply to the
Should
operating
we do
budget.
that?
We can't. Can we-
Nice and
And
clean.
keeping in mind, you're making your recommendations. It's up to you. I didn't want to give you, like, documents for corner and give you no place to go,
Yeah.
so.
We've got, what, 3
We can't-
months till town meeting?
We can't say
You're
take
gonna be making
the
some
9,000 out of free
tweaks to the
cash, that the
operating
money
And you
was,
still have 2 more presentations to make.
No, it's free cash.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh.
We are now going to go before the advisory committee and the board of selectmen, right? And say, oh, these are our ideas. They're going to give us feedback.
are you coming to the meeting?
I'll be right behind
I
you.
want the opposition, right?
So to answer your point,
Yes.
because
really
the
mad at
budget
you.
taxation, what you could do is reduce that 100,000 in the line item by 9,000, so what is it?
91.
Sidewalk?
Yeah.
And it would be 90,000, that's all, to make up the additional cost.
And then free free cash.
It would give town meeting two clear options, each of which will work. Decide, do we want to wait, or do we want to? We will try to convince them to wait.
So we said, do we need to make that motion now?
No, we could wait.
Okay. So, can I adjourn the meeting?
I move
Please
to
do.
adjourn.
I second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?